Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome to the class. Students, today we will start a new chapter, that is reproduction in plants. You know that like animals, plants also increase their numbers by producing their new ones. So here plants are living things and they exhibit some basic characteristics that are important for their survival and growth. So here reproduction is one of that characteristic feature by which they produce so that their new survives. Okay, and thus reproduction can be defined as, students, the process of living being in which they produce young one of their own kind. That means here in reproduction the organism will produce the young one and that young one will be similar to their parents. So types of reproduction, there are two types of reproductions, you know. First one is asexual and second is sexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, this method of reproduction, it involves a single parent. That means in asexual reproduction, male and female both are not necessary and the offsprings produced by this method, they are exact copies of their parents like amoeba and some lower organisms such as hydra and yeast. You have to learn these examples and they reproduce by asexual reproduction. In plants, asexual reproduction takes place by following methods. Here you are seeing that binary fission, students, small organisms like paramecium, blue-green alga, they produce through binary fission. And what will happen there? Actually, here the word binary means two and fission means splitting. That means it is a common mate here. This mode of reproduction found in bacteria. In this method, the nucleus splits into two and thereby it leads to the splitting up of the whole cell, which finally form two identical twin cells like that. This one is the mother cell, this will split, its nucleus will split and finally two daughter cells will be formed. So here these new cells are called the daughter cells and each daughter cells, they grow in an adult. Okay. Now in algae like Chlamydomonas, here another type of fission that is found, that's name is multiple fission. So here in Chlamydomonas, it develops a protective covering when conditions are unfavorable. That means that protective covering and this protective covering, it is called the cyst. So cyst formation will be there in Chlamydomonas in unfavorable condition. And when favorable condition will be there, so in favorable condition, the daughter cells are released from this cyst. That means in this cyst number of daughter cells will be there and when favorable conditions will come, this outer layer will rupture and number of daughter cells will be produced. Now next one is budding, students. So here budding, by the method of budding, it is commonly seen in figure, for example the yeast, you know, and this method a small bud like outgrowth is seen. So here that small bud which is found there, so that bud grows, it increases and eventually gets detached from the parents and that bud produce the new young one. Okay. So new one will produce through the bud and the nucleus within the parents cells, this divided into two and one part moves into the bud and as a result and the detached bud is capable of growing into a independent plant. Suppose that this one is a plant, so here a bud will form and this bud will bifurcate and this produce a new plant. Okay. You are seeing here budding in yeast. So here in case of yeast, seen that a bud formation is there, this bud will separate from this mother cell and after that a new daughter cell will form by this bud and that is independent. Next one is fragmentation, students. So in this method, this is also asexual method, asexual mode of reproduction. The body of organisms in this method, it breaks up into two or more fragments and each fragment they grows into a new plant. And the most common example of such kind of reproduction, that means example of fragmentation that is found into the spirogyra. Okay, so each fragments that will form a new daughter cell and that will grow independently. Students, next one is spore formation. So spore formation is an asexual mode of reproduction. It is also found in plants, and the formation of spores, it is seen on the undesired of the leaves of some ornamental plants here. So these spores you are seeing here, that here each spores that is covered by a hard protective coat to withstand unfavorable conditions such as higher temperature and low humidity, then they can survive for long period of time. So in spore formation, students, you are seeing here, there will be the formation of number of spores, and when they come outside, so each spore they will produce a new daughter cell. Okay, so under suitable conditions, you are seeing here, so under suitable condition these spores are capable of producing new plants, which I had told you, and plants such as fern, fungi and mosses, here they reproduce by spore formation. So fungus also produces spores. So by the spore formation there is a sexual mode of reproduction in fungus. So students, this is sufficient for today. In our next video we will discuss the remaining portion of this chapter. Till then, thank you everyone.